I got a challenge for all you Chiefs fans out there. Who is going to share this video on social media? Share it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Is MySpace still around? Probably not, but if it is, feel free to share it over there. I want to get as many Chiefs fans watching this video as possible. And if you share this video on Twitter specifically, all you got to do is follow these steps. Click the share button, click Twitter, or select the Twitter icon, click post to Twitter. Then if you tag me in the post at HGramNFL, I will give you a retweet and follow you back as well. So follow those steps, share this video on social media. Let's get more of Chiefs Kingdom in here. Harrison Graham here with another edition of the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Welcome in. Let's get to the latest on Orlando Brown. Obviously, it was announced on Monday that the Chiefs would not franchise tag him. That became official yesterday when the NFL franchise tag window came and went. So the latest is, well, they want to bring him back, but it's kind of unclear what's going to happen. And report from Albert Breer is the reason they didn't tag him a second straight time was they felt like tagging him again would just lead to a one-year Band-Aid, and then they wouldn't have much leverage in 24 because the third tag really skyrockets. So they didn't want to do that because they want long-term answers. They want answers beyond the 2023 season at left tackle. So if that means risking him hitting the open market on Monday when NFL free agency opens, then so be it. Clearly the Chiefs are comfortable in doing that if they need to. Now, you look at the highest paid tackles in the NFL. We've shown this graphic plenty. Again, I'll be consistent in my takeaway here. I don't think he should make Trent Williams money or really even Laramie Tunsil money, but I think paying him more than $20 million per year is reasonable, and I think that is something that I would do, but I would not reset the market with him, and I think that's kind of where the Chiefs are at. PFF did a contract projection for Orlando Brown, and they may have taken this directly from me. I did this a while back, maybe even last offseason, but I think this is spot on. I would give him 5 years, $105 million. That's $21 million per year, $70 million guaranteed. I may have said 60 or 65, but basically it's, 3 years are pretty much fully guaranteed. Part of year 4, then year 5 is not. I think that's a pretty reasonable deal. $21 million per year. The Chiefs offered him that 6-year, $138 million deal last year, which is well over $22 million per year, but they front-loaded the hell out of it, and they could have gotten out of year 6, and it basically would have just been a 5 for $95, which is $19 per year, which is why Orlando Brown didn't take it. But if you give him legitimately $21 million per year with $70 million guaranteed, I think that's a fair deal for both sides and something that I would do. So what do you guys think happens here? Will the Chiefs re-sign Orlando Brown? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with an ad break, go ahead and reply that right there with a Y or and in. Let's go to Donovan Smith here. A couple of players that could potentially replace Orlando Brown at left tackle if they can't get a deal done. Tampa released the veteran left tackle on Tuesday who struggled this year, which we'll outline in a second, but he does have 124 career starts over 8 seasons, and for much of his career has played at a high level. Now, you look at the last 2 years specifically with his PFF grades and a couple of other numbers, obviously the numbers show that he did not play as well, and the eye test will suggest that as well. I thought he got a little bit grabby this year. I think he was playing through an injury. He looked slow off the snap. He just didn't look like that guy. I think he was probably fighting through something, but he was grabbing a lot more. 12 penalties suggest that. That's a lot. Gave up 6 sacks compared to 1 the year before. The run blocking was atrocious. Lost some power, it would assume. So I'm not completely sure what happened in 2022. I think there was probably some sort of an injury he was playing through. He missed 4 games, so we know he was banged up. But he has been a reliable left tackle in this league for a long time. I mean, you don't start almost every game for 8 seasons for a franchise at left tackle unless you're good. So he's been good in this league. So is he done? Was it just a bad year? That's the question, right? Like, if you think he can get back to a high level if he's fully healthy, then he's only going to be, I think, 31 next year. It's not like that's super old. Again, I would rather have Orlando Brown. But the point being is, as you look at the offensive line here, if you don't get Orlando Brown back, you're going to have to replace him at left tackle. So more on this conversation here in just a moment. But I do want to tell you guys about our sponsor on today's show, and that is Fume. Listen, try Fume.com/chatsports, 10% off the Journey Pack. Fume is going to help you kick bad habits and get you back into some good habits. We all have those bad habits, and we certainly know how hard they can be to kick them, but our sponsor Fume is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume when I got it, but the minty sensation is really powerful, and it really hits the back of the throat. I like their different flavors. It's a really cool device that right here that Fume has. You can hold it really easily. It comes in this nice box. You got the maple pepper, the crisp mint, also the white cranberry. Producer Sam loves the crisp mint. He's a fan of that one. I am as well. Go check it out. Now, I want to make it clear. Fume is not a vape. It's a non-electronic device designed to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed perfectly to do just that. So head to tryfume.com/chatsports and use code chatsports for 10% off of the Journey Pack. That link will be in the description and comments of this video. Code chatsports as well to get 10% off. That's tryfum.com/chatsports. 10% off with code chatsports. All right, back to the offensive line discussion. If Orlando Brown walks, you need a left tackle. So whether that's Donovan Smith, someone in the draft, or Taylor Lewan, that is something that the Chiefs are going to have to do. Now, Lewan was released by Tennessee last week, has dealt with several injuries over the past 4 years, but he did poke a little fun on Twitter today. I think he was just, it's eyeball emoji season, so I don't know if there's anything to this, but he did at Chiefs eye emoji. Who knows, right? Like, I will say this, Taylor Lewan is a good player when healthy. He really is, but that's been the issue, right? You look at his last 4 years, games played. Missed 4 games in 2019, only played in 5 games in 2020, 13 in 2021. You know, if you told me he'd get 12 or 13, I'd take it, but just 2 this past year. He's getting older. The injuries are adding up. He's going to be 32 next year. I don't think he's a real option. I just think the injuries are too much. Now, if it wants to be like a Kyle Long situation, who they signed last year out of retirement, he wants to be kind of a swing tackle and just chase a ring, hey, I'm all for that. And if he has to play, he can be a guy that plugs in and plays. But I don't think he's a viable option to be your answer as a starting left tackle. I just don't think that's a direction you can really go. Again, veteran backup that if he has to play, sure. But if I'm Kansas City, I'm not letting Orlando Brown walk because I think Taylor Lewan is some permanent answer. I just think that's way too risky. Now, pick a left tackle. We just talked about a couple of options that have become available. Type DS for Donovan Smith, or you can type TL for Taylor Lewan. Which left tackle would you rather target if you were Kansas City? Now, subscribe to the channel right now because Chiefs free agency rumors are buzzing as we gear up for Monday when NFL free agency starts. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. That way you don't miss a video here on the Chiefs Report. We'll have you covered on a daily basis. All right, let's get to our next story here. Kadarius Toney, is he ready to be wide receiver 1? James Palmer of NFL Network reports that the Chiefs believe that Toney can be their number 1 wide receiver in 2023. Now, the production through 2 seasons, at just raw stats, he's got less than 600 receiving yards, would lead you to believe, that feels like a stretch. But here's why I think he could be a number 1 wide receiver in this league and for this team. Well, he was a first-round pick, so he's got the credentials to do it. He's got great speed. He can separate well. I think we saw some flashes of that on display. He's electric in the open field. We've seen that both as a receiver and as a punt returner. We saw Super Bowl 57 when he made a couple of huge plays. But I think now it's time for him put together a strong offseason, be focused. That way he can start to reach his full potential. I mean, there's a reason that the Giants moved on from him less than 2 years in, because they didn't see the commitment from him. I think Andy Reid has a good track record of getting people into his culture and players maximizing their potential. We saw it down the stretch. They wouldn't have won the Super Bowl without him. Now it's time to be that week in, week out reliable player and person for this franchise, and someone Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid can trust. And if he can do that, then yeah, I don't see why it would be impossible for him to be the number one receiver, especially when you still have Travis Kelce. It's not like you have to go out there and be a 1,500-yard guy or something like that. Now, JuJu Smith-Schuster was the number one receiver this past season, number two if you count Kelce, but you know my point. And obviously, he is set to be a free agent, but more signs pointing to him possibly returning. Palmer also added that the Chiefs would like to bring back JuJu in free agency. Several reporters have mentioned as such. I do think, money is kind of going to be the factor here. Does he get overpaid by someone because it's a thinner wide receiver free agent class? Certainly possible. But I liked what I saw from JuJu last year. I would like for him to find the end zone more. Like I'd like to see him be a 5-6 touchdown guy next year. But if he can give this team 70 to 80 catches a year and around 1,000 yards, then that's very good. I mean, that's really good wide receiver 2 numbers, low end wide receiver 1 numbers. And if Toney elevates and JuJu doesn't have to be that true number 1, then you're even in better shape. So I would like to see JuJu back. I think I said the other day, could you get him for 3 years and $50 million, like that 16, 17 million per year? I think that's probably proper value for him, but I could see a team throwing over $20 million for him because it's not a super strong free agent class. So time will tell, but if you can get him back, Toney elevates, Sky Moore takes the next step, re-sign Justin Watson as a depth guy, you may not even have to draft a receiver, at least not early on. So hopefully JuJu returns and is a big piece of this offense next year. Now, who will be wide receiver 1 next year if JuJu returns? Like if it's these two, who do you think will be the number 1 guy? Type JuJu or KT for Kadarius Toney. JuJu obviously for Smith-Schuster. I would still lean Smith-Schuster just because he's more proven on a week-in, week-out basis, but Toney definitely has more raw talent and ability than JuJu, so would love to see it be KT. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to the show today. Remember, share this video on social media. If you tag me on Twitter, I will give you guys a retweet of that share. So appreciate you guys very much. Click the share button, follow the rest of the steps. You'll be good to go. Shout out to the real ones for hanging out until the end of the video, and we'll see you next time here at the Chiefs Report.